We go. Okay, looks like we're ready to go here. Let me start the video. And this is the video for One Planet, One Race, One Nation.
There are people listening from every corner of this planet. No knowledge has been dispersed so beautifully, so balanced across the planet, of this planet ever. Maybe in the universe. You have the full potential of achieving everything in the universe. There is no need and there is no reason for man not to achieve. So, wherever you are, the way I taught you to make the coils double coil inside, you have continuous equal gravitational magnetic field, and if you put CO2 on it, and you put zinc on it, you have connected the emotion of the man to it on a stable condition, and you'll find out you become a very peaceful man. Here, instead of having galaxies and universes and creating connection magnetically, we have used the matter state gravitational magnetic field strength to dominate and dictate the shape of the plasma. The nanotechnology, the nanomaterial which you have collectively developed in different ways, by caustic, by electric currents, by whatever, fire or whatever, has that advantage that the matter, the nano and the plasma is all the same. So connection is very solid. It's very strong. The power of the plasma technology, the way we have thought, is beyond imagination of the man. Now you can create and control the plasma, which is the mother of the creation of the universe. You are given the seed of the essence of the creation. The foundation does not belong to no one and is not made of one anymore. You are developing it, you are structuring it, and from today we will be still the same. We'll still develop the technology in different names, in different colors, in different nationalities which they do not exist. It is beautiful when we see the Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, and every other belief are working together to build up systems. We have already become one faith. We already have become one nation, and we already become one planet. You got to remember one thing. Dates is irrelevant. Today is the last day of the Christian calendar, or tomorrow is the beginning of another. One day is connected to another. We don't stop. We are working around the clock. The Keshe Foundation team is working in respect to our time, position, religion, country. And now we achieve what we set out for.
Okay, welcome everyone to the 4th International Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again, we'll be here with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, and he will let us know about what's going on internationally with the Keshe Foundation and we'll hear from some other folks as we go on here. Mr. Keshe, are you ready to begin today there?
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as usual, whenever, whenever you listen to these teachings. First of all, before we start, as all of us we know, or some must have forgotten, National New Year of our Chinese-speaking community around the world. We welcome the New Year and Happy New Year to all of you. You are the cornerstones of the Keshe Foundation in Far East and in Central East Asia. We thank you and we hope this year will bring you prosperity and all the best which life can bring for you and your families and your nation in a rate of language speaking. Yes, it is a year of monkey. It's a year of good and good wishes. I was this morning very strange with what we call native people from Dubai, and he read a verse of Quran to me, which was very interesting. And in that verse, he says, it's written in the Hadith of Quran by bless his name Muhammad, that the end of the world comes when the barefooted man who don't wear shoes will start building higher and higher and higher structures to compete with each other. And he said, barefooted people are from the area, he explained, and he said that's why we start building one building bigger than this. We built one structure, the tallest building in Dubai. The Saudis explained they built a bigger tower one, and now we're building bigger than the Saudis do. So we are getting to the end of the world. The promise is completed, it's getting completion. I laughed listening to it inside and I thought, we already have a start in Dubai. The Saudis explained they built a bigger tower. Now I can hear myself back again. So we see a lot of things coming together. A lot of things are ready to change and a lot of things is in the hand of us to change. What we try to do, we go back on some of the teaching and understand the teachings, and we try to develop properly. If we have Alex on the line, he's got a very good news for us. If he cannot get it, I can explain it till he appears somewhere that he can explain to us more. Can you see Alex in the background? Hello, Alex. Hello. Hello, Alex. Would you like to unmute? We can't get him online, or he can't mute him.
Mr. Keshe,
Hi, Alex. Alex, would you like to tell us your good news you were explaining to me on the phone? If you want. We can't hear you.
I'm having hi, Mr. Keshe. The connection is not be good enough to give the information. Okay, you see, I'm not sure the bandwidth is good enough to give information.
Do you want me to explain, or you want to do it?
Hello?
Yes, we are listening, Alex.
Yes, if you can explain, because it's difficult from here, Mr. Keshe.
Okay, all the best. With your permission. What happened?
Well, the first one, I don't know if it's going to be the band.
Hello. Hello, Alex.
I think he was going to say bandwidth, and that was the magic word there.
Okay, we try to get him back on, but we'll try.
Hi, Mr. Keshe.
There he is.
We are back. Be quick.
Yeah, the bandwidth is really poor. I don't sure if
Don't explain the bandwidth. Just speak straight away. We hear it.
Mr. Coach, you can explain it because I can't do it. It's the bandwidth keeps
Okay. Okay, I'll explain and then.
All right then. All right, I go on. You know, my sister-in-law, she
Okay. Now he said the name, so I'll
oh my
explain.
God.
Let's cut off.
Chicken.
Alex, I'm going to explain if you are not getting disconnected. Okay, I'll explain, Alex. Listen, then you can correct it or add to it as you want. As you know, one of the problems we
Okay,
touched,
okay.
okay, one of the things we touched on the some of teaching in the past and the present, or a couple of weeks ago even, was the position of the how situation has come that a lot of people suddenly cannot have children, or it's been sometimes, but people could not create to achieve the conformation of their own life by reproducing offsprings in all sorts of ways. We have seen huge amount of increase, what we call test tube babies and other names which has been created for the same thing, which people pay a fortune to have a child. As we explained before, we've done a lot of tests around this work for some years. And Alex asked me a question, can you advise, because within his family he told his, you heard it, is his sister-in-law, that they've been trying to have a child for some times. I explained to him in a very simple way where the problem is and how easily you can change the course, even in big cities, because of the use of the contraceptives which is used, goes back into the water system, and then men drink it and a woman drink it, and it affects the, what do we call it, the sperm counts as they call it on the man. And then it's the same with the women, a lot of women, because of whatever, but it's been going on for centuries. This is not something new, but now with the new chemicals it's got extended. So when Alex asked me about his member of his family, that they are not, they want a child but they don't get pregnant, I explained to him how it can be done. And Alex called me a couple of days ago that it worked, she's pregnant. So in so many ways, the whole system has been added to in a very simple way. You need to change the structure of thinking, and then you have to add to what I call, what is known as in language libido, or what we call sexual behavior in increasing to want to produce. We explained about the waters, and that even there is a lake in Australia that it's been believed that if you swim in this water, you get pregnant. And we know one of the most famous actresses is playing a part in that lake. Later on announced that she was pregnant. I think we know the name. We don't go explaining and putting names on anymore for not to create us a problem. But what does this lake do? It has the gravitational magnetic field strength, which gives the comfort and confirmation of the existence emotionally to the body, which is carried through the sexual lines of reproduction to the brain, that you can have a child. So what we done, we replicated the job of this lake. It's a well-known lake and it's used by what we call Aborigines for centuries for this purpose. Now, what we done, what I advised Alex to do with it was to put very much a small patch of CO2 tissue in a pack, as we do, with making sure that carries the zinc oxide in it as a nanomaterial. What you do, you put this on the front and the back, on the, what I call the womb, or the lower part of the body. And we have seen the results, more or less than 2 months. This is one of the ways which you confirm emotionally to the body that it can reproduce, and more or less reproduction organs respond to it as a safe condition. Or you change through putting the patches in between the two part of the body, you change the environment, that the same situation as we talked earlier on, when you put a copper oxide nanotube on a pipe, you change the acidity into alkaline. You do the same thing with the body of the man. So we change the whole structure. We change the whole condition of the womb. Am I alive because somebody apparently has got a problem? The earth doesn't move for them under a promotion tape. Can you hear me?
I just have to get the earth moving again here.
Okay, because they said the earth doesn't move for them.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, as they say in English, the earth moved. Okay, so what happens is that with this condition, you again not only change the emotional part with the CO2 and a gas oxide, you change the same thing. You change the condition of acidity of the womb. You change the condition of the environment of the womb to a balanced condition. So allows the condition to be created, environment to be created, that the two parts which need to come together, they come and they interact and create a condition. There is a huge problem with a lot of men. Actually, it's not a huge problem, it's part of the process of life. We have created over the evolution of time, for reasons that we don't want to get all sorts of what they call infections and the other thing, that when the sperms goes through, then we create an anti-sperm to make sure that there's nothing left that it can cause other problems within the intestine, testicles and the rest of the organ of the man. But in some cases, this, not destruction, but changing characteristic of the sperm to, in a way, taking the tails out of it, or changing its environment, is done naturally by the body of the man. So the men who have this property or this condition, that the sperm is destroyed before reaches the egg by its own natural products, which is part of all of us produce, you can use the same patches the same. We've done this with one of the most famous people in the world, and it works, years ago. So these patches is not just for women to change the environment. The men who have what we call weak or shortage in number of the counts of the sperm to have children can use the same. We've done the same thing and it works for cases we have studied. So it's for you to test and come back to us and post it on the, what they call the forum. The reason it works in both cases is because you change the environment, and in changing the environment you bring balance. So what Alex was trying to tell you, yes, the sister-in-law, after a long time wanting a child, now she's pregnant and the whole family is happy with it, because this what was, and it took less than 10 cents or 5 cents to do the job. Maybe we call the baby the first baby of the Keshe Foundation public knowledge. So if you know anyone, if you can go on the internet, you can relieve a lot of pain for a lot of couples craving to have a child, to be able to love a child. So go out and put this out. Let people try it. All they need to do is just create a CO2 patch and place it on the moon. And then what she did, because this patch could not be carried all the time, she put the CO2 in a tube and just put it on her waist. So When you use it for a few days, you can do what she did and it's worked for her, and we know in other cases it works the same. There are people who have cysts on their ovaries. Try it, see if the cyst goes away. Those of you who have what we call kyst on the, what we call the womb, on the entry, try the patch. Do not put it inside, but just put a patch back in the front. Very much the way you use every month the tampons, and see if it changes the condition, the environment, the acidity, and all the problems. We tested this and it works, but there's a side effect in a way that we hear more from the men than the woman when this is completed. The libido increases, which means the women become more active. And a lot of men complain about it because it's beyond what they wanted. So you have to be aware of it. So we know that, we told you before, that with the trials we've done in the past, now we're getting the first report that is done by independent people, is that you can change the condition. And secondly, those of the women who suffer with heavy bleeding, heavy pains during your menstruation, use a patch. You will let us know. You will find a lot of your pain will reduce. A lot of you go through painful menstruation cycles. Try a patch. Make it yourself. When you give these patches to people, explain to them, and they use it. A lot of men are ignorant to the pain of women. We cannot be. Now we know it's there, now we have the tools. A lot of men have a problem when their wives or their partners go through what we call menopause. These things can be helped very, very simply by these kind of patches. Make sure you don't use any zinc oxide. That's important. Do not go through a zinc oxide. When you do and use these systems, understand there is no damage with it. But on the other hand, you have to understand that you do not push, because then you create what I call condition of nymphomaniac, as they call it. And a lot of men like to think they're machos, but when the partner keeps going, they find out they have complaints to make. And we already heard people are making complaints who use it, that the husband cannot keep up. So it's a big problem for you. There is something we have to tell you before we go. We welcome the establishment of the Keshe Foundation Canada. Thank you very much, Rick. He's one of the new foundations set up and registered this week. And at the same time, we congratulate the German Keshe Foundation manufacturers. We'll support you in every way we can, and we'll see where we can go and how we can do things.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Very, very happy to finally get the Keshe Foundation Canada incorporated.
Now you got to set up your manufacturing.
There's lots of work to do now, yes. Now the work just starts.
Yes, it's fantastic. It's perfect in what you've done and what you're doing. Thanks for all your support. Canadians' work in the Keshe Foundation is, in a way, the backbone of the work of the foundation. And thank you, all of you. Be it Vince, be it the others. You have created a condition opposite to what we had when we experienced it in Canada. The other point which we have, we will sign all the Keshe Foundation contracts this week. All the manufacturers and all the foundations which have been cleared will be signed, and you can start signing of the companies in your country for the start of the manufacturing. The other things which I have to explain before we go further. As you remember, in all the health teachings over Tuesdays in the last year, over a year, especially in the first sections we did, with Dr. Elia Kostova in respect to the structure of the bone, which we confirm all in our teachings, and I've done in past couple, 3, 4, or 5 years, that the bone marrow comes through the use of the lymph, and the lymph is connected to creation of immune system in the bone marrow. This has been confirmed scientifically to be correct, and is considered one of the major breakthroughs for the people who have listened to our work and followed it, and they confirmed it. Now it's become an international paper released by scientific world, that major breakthrough now that we can connect, or we have managed to connect the connection between the lymph and the immune system, and it'll change a lot of things. But in a way, you've been taught this, and as I said, major scientists around the world listen to these teachings and they take it to the lab to confirm yes or no. I think, Caroline, do you have that link about the scientists who confirmed the bone marrow with the lymph? Can you send it to Vince to post it up, or to Rick? So we try to, if you go on the internet and put, it's just been published a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. Pardon? Yeah, find it. So we post this up. So what we told, what we've been teaching in past year, 2 years, about the change and conversion of the lymph into immune system, the condition one, because the scientists never realized that these holes in the bone are where the bone, the lymph goes through to become a bone marrow. And this is what I explained when we handle the chemotherapy. Why I support the chemotherapy so much? Because at this moment of time, we can reduce the size of the lymphs, that they can go through the bone structure that become the lymph and add to the strength of the immune system. Now, scientifically, independently, our teaching has been confirmed. This changes a lot of things in the world of science, understand it the correct way, and follow what we've done. We teach more and more of you how to use this. What is important in this structure is, can I share a screen, please? Afternoon sessions, I think it's this one.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
I'm
We
trying.
see your,
It's okay, wait. Can you see the whiteboard now?
no, we see your
Desktop.
browser and desktop.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and start again. I go to share a screen. Can you see it now?
Yes.
The whiteboard?
Yeah.
Okay, so what now the scientific world has confirmed is that there is a connection between what I call the lymph, what we call the lymph, which comes through the bone marrow. If I can change it in a different way. I think this doesn't need to be far. Okay, we're gonna go for a thicker line. We all can see it. So what happens is that as the lymph comes off your stomach to go into intestine, and whatever is added to it, that now the plasma of the food you have eaten can cross its energy into the lymph. And then the lymph as a liquid, all it does, it carries it, and what it does, it brings it to the bone. And the bone structure is literally a porous bone structure. So physically, part of the bone structure allows, in a way, if you look at it, this is the bone structure. It's got its holes, and the bone marrow is established as the lymph goes through what we call, as it goes through the bone, and in becoming part of the bone, it gets sucked up by the blood circulation and becomes a bone marrow. So our bone marrow is what comes from the lymph. But this is part of the work of the bone marrow. This is not the totality of it. What happens? The bone structure itself on the top has what I call filtering. If you look at, when you look at your bone, when you cut a bone, you see it's full of holes, a lot of porosities. Now, the bone marrow has to go through these nanomaterials, and by the size they go through, they become, when they join a blood cell, how they will in strength the red blood cells of a given destination to go into the part of the body of the man for emotional strength and for protection of the emotional cells. Your immune system is part of your emotion. So what you will see is that the changes in the structure. But there is another thing which happens too. The lymphs has the same property as what you've seen with the cups you made. If you remember when you made the cups, you saw you put an orange on the top and you got an orange taste back by transfer of energy. So the lymph transfer partially for conformation of matter, but partially they transfer the energy across through the transfer of plasma. This I have never thought before. Now that we're going in a deeper understanding, you have to understand the totality. So we add to the knowledge in this way. Your lymph partially releases the energy into the bone marrow through the transfer of energy, the same as it happens in your stomach. Nothing crosses, but the energy gets transferred. But in the section when it comes to the bone, it's not that this needs to be energy alone. This needs to have some materials too. So the lymph, as it goes through the bone, adds to the matter structure of the immune system and what we call the bone marrow. But at the same time, some of the lymph of a different order which cross the wall of the intestine carry their energy across without ever crossing the bone. This is important because these are the ones which carry the emotional strength, where the ones which carry through carry the matter state of the conversion. But when they cross through, then what they need as energy is given to them by the limbs which are created, given certain energy, which only cross the wall through energy transfer, not the physical transfer. So it's not that when you have a lymph which goes through will be stronger. Then the lymph, when it arrives at a wall, internal wall, with added calcium which comes from the structure into the environment of the bone marrow, by getting sucked up, it gets energy added to it continuously to the level which is needed. It's this plasma, what we call the energy lymphs, which dictate the condition of how you stand or you protect yourself according to other matters. And when you go into space, it's these cells which pick up the viruses or the extra energies, not these. Because in that transfer, they transfer the energy to the bone marrow. In a space, we look for these. If you pick up energy from anything magnetic gravitational field, in so many ways, you look for these. In the case of chemotherapy, what happens, the energy is transferred to this and these are reduced because the chemotherapy has more matter state energy than emotion. So the matter state gets bigger And as it gets bigger, when it comes to the wall, it cannot cross because the hole is this size, but it's bigger than the hole. So it gets blocked. In that blocking, it cannot transfer the energy which is needed for emotional part. So the emotional part is not getting enough because the gravitational part on the lymph has increased, so it increases the size. But when it increases the size, it cannot cross. The right amount of energy transfer from the lymph transfer energies are not cross the wall of the bone, so you get a double whammy. One cannot get in, and then you cannot produce either because the energy is lower compared to the lymph, so it cannot transfer to it, and that's become a problem. In a way, the energy of the lymph increasing because the smallest and the higher potential is needed to cross it, then it creates you a backwards clash for the bone marrow too, and the lymph from outside. What we do and what have been done in the systems which we use this technology, what you do, you have to learn something. I try to put this one on a new, it says save. Let's save it because we can come back to it. Delete it. I call it bone. Save this one in pictures. Okay, now what you understand, and I explained this before again, is when this is your stomach and when the lymph comes in, when the lymph approaches at the higher strength to the bone to it is like a solid wall. It cannot cross. As I explained, the size of the lymph is bigger than the gaps which has been created by we go here. No. No, there it is. No, I'll close this one. Cancel. We go. Undo. Undo. Okay. Now we need undo. I need the thingy. I need to go home. Okay. So what happens is that now the side, why is it going green?
Yeah, in the right upper corner, the question mark.
No, that's okay. I'm getting there.
No, you have the paint bucket tool instead of the drawing tool.
Ah, my God.
So select your little pencil there.
No, I know. Oh, there it is. I've got it. It's the rubber. It's the rubber. It's the rubber.
Right, there you go.
There we go. Sorry about that. It's just I'm getting too old and senile. Can't see and can't remember. Blind and this together is bad. So what happened? Your lymph comes and cannot cross. But what happens on the other hand is that the bone structure, the bone marrow structure internally, oh, what haven't done now? Okay, the bone structure inside, if you look at it, your bone marrow internally now has not got enough lymph, or if it has a lymph, they are not of the strong condition which is needed, that they can go up through the pull of your blood circulation into your body. So what you come to understand is that what you got to do when you make patches or you make systems is the system has to be a dual system. The dual system means in doing two things at the same time. What you got to do is that you have to reduce the size of the lymph to the size that it can cross here, and you have to be able to get the lymph to join inside to become a mature, full energy bone marrow. How do you do it? You need to create a patch. I just put, as this is at the bottom, is the patch you make. You have to make a patch, let's say this big, that at this boundary here, the bone marrow, or what they call the lymph, sorry, it reduces in a strength. So you have to take a strength from it if you look at the spectrum. So you have to create a condition, the reverse of your intestine. Intestine delivered the energy to the lymph which was available, and so they energize the lymph. And then the lymph has gone to the point which reaches here, is too big, cannot go through the bone. So now what you got to do is you have to develop a structure where at this point you take energy from the lymph, that you reduce it enough that it can cross the, what I call the bone, the holes. It's no use having what we call the energy lymphs here when no lymph is delivered to be energized. No matter is delivered. So what do? You have to create a system that on these sides of the bone in your system, you reduce the energy of the lymph. So when you reduce it, you get it in. But don't forget that in the process of chemo, some of these are already damaged, or they do not deliver the right energy. So what you got to do inside the lymph is very simple. When it gets to here, your system should be able to increase the lymph energy. So you need a jewel. Reduce the strength before the bone, that it can get through. And once you got in, you have to increase the power of the potency of the fields of your system that can energize the lymph. And then in that energizing it, because now you do the same thing as you do with feeding it back with its energy, and all the cells, according to what they need to where to go, they energize. Don't forget, it's absolutely vital. We go back to the teachings of the health teachings. Hopefully Archie will bring it up and get it sorted with all the pictures which was not right when it was taught, with the licensed pictures which was used. We're trying to get this sorted, it takes some time. We explain in those teachings that in your lung, when you breathe, your blood, no oxygen ever crosses the lung into the blood cell, into your blood, in your blood system, in your vein. It's the only energy which is transferred, and each cell in the blood has a taxi destination, which means it's delivered to a specific part of the body of the man. That's why you have such a circulation. Everybody gets on the, what do you call it, the roundabout, everybody gets on the traffic jam, but everybody goes, they all don't go to the same house, they go to their own houses. And our blood is got that, what I call taxi destination system, which means this is, for example, only for a specific cell on a specific point of your toe in the emotional leg strength. The lymph does the same. Your lymph has a taxi destination that somewhere in the structure, this taxi with this passenger meet, and the only thing is the fee is paid to get delivered, which comes with your neurosystem, with your emotion, which is a collection of the whole totality of all the fields of the body of the man. So you have the same structure in your limbs. You have the same structure in your bone marrow. Bone marrows are created to the specific energy for a specific job to disinfect continuously specific areas which create their own extra energies, which then they cannot interact or cannot be taken away, then what we call infection. So the same as was with the lymph having a taxi destination, the blood having a taxi destination, now you understand that the bone marrow created on the same condition. Because not all the holes on these walls are exactly the same, and not all the nanomaterials on the top end, which filter what the strength needs to go through the same size. So everything is well planned by your brain and is carried out immaculately. So what you do, you reduce the strength of things to get it through, but because you don't have the right, what do you call it, emotional limbs available to deliver the energy which is needed, then now you do that job manually yourself. So if we look at the process, I'm going to save this one again. We call it blood 2, bone 2, bone 2. Okay, so what happens now, if you look, you have to make a system. This is your system, which has the following properties. You create, you put a patch, you put a system, you put the new double coil plasma system, whatever you create that has gravitational strength, which means it takes energy from its environment. The same is on this side. This has to be gravitational system. Here in the center, you need to create a system which is magnetical, which means gives energy. So here you reduce, here you create a system which gives. Then even if you look at, let's say, a man which sits down, and this is his femur, and this is the backbone it sits on, this being his femur, you cover the system the same. Because if you look on the top of the femur, you have flesh, you have a bone in the middle. So you make a system that on this side, on the flesh side, is gravitational. The same on this side. And in the center, which is here, which sits on top of your lymph, you can put a system underneath or on the top. Or you can make a system, which always done, is the best to have a system on the top. This system works 100% without a failure in every cancer chemotherapy. But you have to know what you're doing. Even people who have a continuous problem with their immune system, this system is one of the best to use for them. It's been used, now people putting testimonies on, because I tell you it's been done and you're testing it, do test and you find out you'll come the same. So if you understood this process and now you can increase it, let's put it this way. We make this one here to be the muscles, the tissues, and here the tissues. Let's choose another color. Here we use our tissues here, you take out, and here you put the adding on with the magnetic system, which is this one. If you look at it from the top, this, if you look from the top, is this here. Then you find out you don't need bone marrow transplant. The time of bone marrow transplant and going through all this hassle is over. It's long over. Now we teach it. Nobody needs to wait to find a bone marrow, somebody to match. You match it yourself. You find it yourself. You have people with a problem which are searching for bone marrow. They're waiting to die if they can't find a match. go in, build a system, says this is it, free. You're dying, you don't have a choice. You can't find a match, try. It takes 3 to 6 months for the body to learn to balance itself. You can use the same understanding, if you understand it fully, for when people have organ transplant. The rejection of the system or the organ comes because there is an energy disbalance. It's like a 2 nano material of different things. You've seen it. You get your copper wires, you twist it, you find out that insulators, that behavior. So with this kind of patches, now that you've learned and you're extending to your knowledge, you can do the same. You just put a patch on the point outside the body when the transplant is done. Magic. Few weeks, few days, body learns there is no need for extra medicine. The rejection, you have taught the body to re-register a new balance in the area because of what you've done. Most probably you don't need rejection. The body will not reject because it goes into the balance condition between what has been introduced and what's not there and how it's there. You can make systems on the same way with your patches, that you sit the what do you call it, the patch on the end of the bone, which means you boost the energy of the lymph, which has become bone marrow, when it goes out to the body of the man. You find out people with the immune system deficiencies respond to this very rapidly. But don't forget, you can only use CO2 with a zinc added to it. All the cancers will behave that way. So in a space, you don't have a zinc, but you have the system with the coils which can adjust it. So you understand, adjust your system, how much energy is needed to be taken out of this zone here, and how much energy is needed to be added to this zone. This is how in space you retract viruses. This is why these technology are perfect for system like AIDS, system like malaria. These are systems because any viruses, this is why when we gave the system for Ebola in Africa from the Sierra Leone Southern University, given to the government, suddenly World Health Authorities just grabbed it, took the machine, and threatened all the scientists not to talk with us anymore. Because they found out we have found the secret of overcoming any viruses. They can't sell more medicine or pretend to be a disease. In a space, as I always said, 99.999% of your problem, which can cause you pain and suffering and can kill you, is viruses. Viruses are energy packs which can attach themselves gravitational magnetically to the energy pack of hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, or oxygen, the 4 elements, which is the basis of the amino acid. And then you find out that they will attach themselves as a package, because your GANs, what it does is, I'm going to save this, we call it a bone 3, bone 3. So what it does, in fact, if you take this as oxygen and nitrogen, or this become the magnetosphere of your amino acid cell. Now the virus or the energy pack finds a way to link up with you. That's what a virus is. Viruses are energy packs which they link up, find somewhere, balance, gravitational magnetic field, or it could be with any of these. the packages can be imbalanced as part of these things. In the space, you create the same kind of patch condition where your system in energy, in gravitational magnetic field MAGRAV, balances the virus, energy of the virus, not your amino acid. And then you find out exactly what you did with your pen. When you have a gravitational magnetic field, one pulling and one giving, the energy, because your pen doesn't look at just one point, looks at the whole opening, then you see what is not needed is given, and what is needed to balance is taken. And then the balance is created, and we can introduce a new concept of drainage, which is now we're teaching into the space technology for lifts. So now you understand how the whole knowledge is coming together. You made the nanomaterials, you made the GANs, you made the pens, everything else, and now you see how you handle it in the space. These pens which you have created are one of the best tools for viruses, for AIDS. The patches of them is the same. If you understand and start understanding how to mix gravitational system and the magnetical system in your patches, when you put a patch on any virus, any condition just disappears. That's why they work perfect for infection. They say these systems, people have infections. We have people who burn themselves in Africa. We'll show this with, what do you call it, Benjamin is posting, making documents ready for the 18th. When you put the patches, that's all it does. The energy compares itself with the environment, which is this part has got too much energy because of the infection. The rest are pure. So in balance to this, as you saw with 129, it gives and takes, and you find a balance, and the creation of the cell carries on very quickly. We are coming into the age of the completion of the knowledge in pieces and pieces together. So in space, all we need to do, what we saw with the upstanding system in, what do you call it, when we showed it on innovation, was and is to put you received this is your body, a vast amount of energy, let's say in this part of your body. What do? You made the system, which is we've seen with coils on it. So in the middle section where it has become a virus, or in the whole blood system, you change the fields of this part of the system, which covers this. And then what do you see? The balance condition. The balance between this comes, and the energy from this, if you make it directional, can move out in that direction. This is your entry system, this is your exit system. So the same as you become part of the structure of like a North Pole, South Pole. You transfer energy and you are done with the disease. You're done with the virus. We've been told by our people in Philippines that they have, or they should get, hopefully okay, that the first Keshe Foundation clinic will be established in Philippines in the coming days. That the system you saw with the helmet, hopefully if they get their permit done, permission done by the hospital, will go into the full clinical trials, and the hospital will keep an eye on it, how it works. Benjamin, on the other hand, is doing the same thing in Africa. We has been announced before. Now we're on the verge of signing the full contract with the government, that you can go to Ghana University of Space Institute and literally ask for the processing, which is the way Benjamin is teaching in the Space University Institute there, and teachings with his work. So gradually works both scientists seeing the results, because they spend a lot of time, one by one, case by case, in the university, in the Atomic Energy Authority, which we are based in Ghana, to show the work of the system. It could not be refused, because the patients, the volunteers are governmental workers, they're scientists, they're doctors, and they've seen the change. So now we have achieved, hopefully in this, by next week or two, we announced literally 2 research centers that you can go to for process of evaluation. Hopefully one will be in the Philippines, hopefully Renan can tell us, and one in Ghana in Africa. Is Renan on the line? We can add to the knowledge.
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Could you enlighten us, what's your position now with the clinic?
Right now, sir, the doctor has not yet given us any feedback, but I will talk to Danny in our team, collaborating with the hospital by later this afternoon, later this morning, tomorrow morning. So we will be finalizing, hopefully that. But there's already a positive impression that we will get that approval. So once it's up, we can really clinical testing.
Okay, so if you want to test anything and you want to be a volunteer, we will finance a lot into Philippines in the coming months to carry on with the testing, and you literally become the new research center for the foundation in that level. And we'll do the same hopefully when the labs is completed in Ghana in the Nuclear Atomic Energy Center. And we see we have 2 or 3 more opening through the medical side, that we open research centers with a full operation of the supervision of the health authorities. We might announce in the coming weeks the opening of the first Keshe Foundation hospital internationally. So once we achieve it, we'll announce it. So these systems can be used, and while we're getting to there, you can do these things yourself. But understand what you're doing, how you're creating the energy, how you're positioning the energy, and how you're allowing the energy to be transferred. In that process, you will find out what is and how it is, and we have, what do you call it, in so many ways, start the process of, with you, in bringing the technology, testing it, putting your testimonials on the website, are encouraging the governments to do. A lot of officials are looking at your testimonials. We need it. It's needed for us to be free, that we can carry on. We see in the background the young generation of the royal families are approaching the foundation in different ways in the past 3 or 4 days. We see young princes who understand the change for their countries, have started tentatively approaching the foundation directly in their own name, not under what I call disguised name. And we are responding positive. So you have to be in a way that you can understand how the technology is applied, that you can teach it correctly in your countries. Hopefully we have in the next few weeks our first, or I should say the third African teacher to go back to Uganda. You'll get to start training. I will train him directly here, and then we send him to Alex and Benjamin to complete his sessions, that he can go back to Uganda, and in Uganda we implant it within the structure the same as what we done in Ghana. So you got to understand how the things are developing, but try to understand it that you do not make mistakes. And secondly, with the plasma, you can't make a mistake, because you always, if you always use a CO2 and what do you call it, zinc oxide GaNs in your systems, you always create a balance. There is no possibility of damaging or harming or adding, because even in that case, the body always takes into consideration of the balance energy. So you can use this technology very rapidly. Very interesting is that a lot of people who come to accuse the foundation of being wrong, they already say we worked it, we done it, and we used it, and it's correct, but it's wrong because we have to oppose it. We've seen this in very recently with what I call people who came to damage the foundation. They found that they have no room and they went back. Now they go a different way. And they confirm in their writings that yes, they have built it and it works, but now we are opposing it because we want just to say we exist. You got to understand the totality when we teach. We have now set the course to show the first flight system. I have added to the knowledge of the what I call the spaceship team, if they can follow it, what they've been advised, as it takes them a few days to set up their system or a few weeks. We are on the verge. I'm teaching enough that we should be able to show a lift done by people. Now they have created on the Keshe Foundation spaceship unit, which is headed by Ali. I'm teaching them to head that way gradually. There is something which we have to add to the conversation because it's important. Vince, are we ready to go or not? Can you give me a clear line? Hello, Vince, are you there? Or he can't find the button. Hello, Vince. Am I talking?
Not yet, Mr. Keshe.
How long would it be? You need 10 minutes? You need half an hour?
Let's go with half an hour.
Half an hour, okay. So in the coming time, we announce what you can do. So I'm writing down not to forget. So when you go in these processes, what you've seen, which we explained with Alex, more or less is the same situation, where here you have the womb. You adjust two systems, here and here, and you find out it works. You change the environment. There is no difference. But start looking in stuff, looking focused in one direction, what I call narrow-mindedness. Open your eyes and teach each other. Teach as fast as you can. I see a lot of inputs done by people. As I said, a lot of people say, Keshe takes people's ideas. No, we don't take ideas. We bring you on the line to teach us your ideas. And people who are in that process of damaging the foundation, as we've seen, they always say Keshe Foundation, Keshe doesn't know anything. I don't. I've taught you the basic. Where do you think your knowledge has come from? We have taught you. And now it's for you to bring it and share it correctly. So the knowledge, as we say, belongs to everyone. And we can adopt it to use it, but we have to do it. If you understood this process and you got a breast cancer here, what do you do? Why do you have to die from breast cancer anymore? When you have learned how to transfer energy and you have the systems. I have given you every information needed for man to survive, not only in the space pod on this planet, but it's you who have to bring different dimensions to it. In what? The measurements, the size, the shape. You use different systems. And as I always said, in all our teachings, there are as many ways to achieve and get to the same point as there are stars in the sky. Every one of you will come up with a different way, but The end product, which is delivering of the man from his pain and suffering away from everything else, is the objective of the work of the process of the foundation. Extend the knowledge further. What about if we do the same thing here? What about if we do the same, but you cover the man? What happens here with your system? You feed the man. Every cell will receive his energy. Every cell does not need to be starving. So now you see your system feeds everything too. They take what they need, and what is not needed is not taken. The system you built within Renan becomes literally a feeding station, a medical station, a reversal of process of whatever you wanted, if you picked up from it, and in so many ways it works for everybody the same. You create as a standby, as part of the strength, the amino acid, the strength of the human body, and then anything which is there added or taken to it through the process the body needs. You have a full comprehensive system for a space technology. Now add to it, add to the knowledge of the man. Add into how you see it. You want to add, let's say, 4 more reactors, tiny one here, and 2 big reactors down here. Why not? You want to put the reactors on the corners and see what happens, and then add one with the copper oxide there, and the zinc there, and this there, and the other one. Why not? Add to the knowledge. We encourage you to add to the knowledge. We are seeing more and more every day what we thought, and the scientific world has gone to search, and scientists listen and they test it, are proven one by one to becoming correct. I have to explain to you something very important. In the coming weeks, we'll wipe out part of the websites of the Keshe Foundation from internet. We will go systematically and look in the places where we need, it needs, as to the knowledge of man, we let them be there. Those who create mayhem for others just to confirm their existence, now we have reached a point that we can do, and we have the legal rights to do. We take out all the people who put negative information for their own existence slowly out of the internet. It is done legally through the legal structure we set up, that people can transfer correct knowledge and don't waste their time. In a way, we have built a system to meet with terrorism. Internet terrorism and the rest of it. We won't explain it, but you will see in the coming weeks all the sites which have been writing and doing everything to disturb and destroy and discredit, they'll be judged by the system which is built internationally, by the law, will handle them one by one. You will see a lot of Keshe Foundation groups who are sitting in the background or whatever will start disappearing. Don't get disappointed, we informed you now, because we have kicked in the legal procedure for it, which is given by the government to us to do. We are not fault-proof. We develop technologies. All of us, we are involved in it, so nobody can deny. We make mistakes like everybody else. We, which is Keshe Foundation family around the world. But we put it, we discuss it, we deliberate. Learn how to use things, test them, teach us. We give room to everyone to teach. If there are people who want to show us or teach us something new, raise your hand. We listen. Only those are the ones just want to come in and create mayhem. we don't have time for. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Trying to see if is there any questions from people in the panelists here, and we have 116 viewers as well in the Zoom. If you have any particular questions, you can raise your hand, and I can promote you panelist.
Hello, I have a question.
Okay. Who are you?
Mario from Germany. Hello.
Who is it from where?
Mario from Germany.
Yes, please.
1 second.
Do you want to take me off the... Oh, I have to stop sharing. There we go. If they want to show something. Okay. Carry on.
It says I can't start the video, but it doesn't matter.
Yes, so you can't start a video because we don't know what's the content of your video.
It's just the cam, I mean, the camera.
Ah, yeah, we can see your face. You look good.
Okay. Earlier you said that for the pain, when the menstruation pain from women, that there should be no zinc oxide in it. Is that right?
No copper oxide.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah,
so it's the usual CO2 with the zinc oxide.
Yeah,
and
try to learn. Sorry, thanks for bringing this question up. Let's explain it because we add to it. Learn how you produce CO2 oxide. Learn how you produce zinc oxide because you use the same plates.
Yeah, you said that one time already.
Yeah, but a lot of people have one there. If they do it, we always have new listeners. They want to listen. They want to learn. And that is, if you put a nano-coated copper with a zinc plate in a salt container, and you connect them to a load, like a LED light or a small motor, very small power draining system, what you will get most of the time in your water is majority CO2 gas. And then you have to see where you position your LED light. It's not on top of it, or it hasn't got a wire connection, leakage from one to another. If you just get the wires from the poles of your plates and connect them together, tie them up together, or connect them to a power supply, very small power supply, you find that you produce zinc oxide gas.
Which side should be connected to the nano?
It's more or less irrelevant. Some people say we connect it to the right, to the positive, to the nano plate, the other one, because in the nano plate you have both positive and negative. If you want to reverse it, you can reverse it, it doesn't matter. But you have to know when you're producing how much of the copper oxide and how much of CO2.
Yeah, also it might be interesting to know that the zinc oxide is usually white, right?
It's more or less the same color, near enough to the copper oxide. What do you call it, to CO2. Color
because when I produce it, and it's mostly zinc oxide, when I'm using electricity, for example, and no load,
it's very white.
Then it's white, yeah. And if I do it the way that when I want to produce mostly CO2, then it's slightly bluish.
A slightly creamish color.
Yeah, it's it has a different look. Looks similar, but it's a little bit different.
Yes.
Also, what I wanted to ask is, how can we regrow teeth or heal teeth?
That is the process. It's not a problem, but you have to make a very miniature system that you can carry it in the place where the tooth is. There's not much difference with the growing a tooth, because you have to use a helmet with growing the tooth.
Doesn't it work with the pens? Using the pens all the time?
No.
Okay.
We don't think so, put it that way. Because you have to understand, when you lose your teeth when you're young, it's preset in the, what we call in our DNA and RNA. When you pull a tooth out in old age and you want to grow it, the root goes out with it. There is no root. You have to trigger that the whole thing can create emotional condition in the brain, in the cell of the brain, the part where was controlling the reproduction of the tooth to start with. You understand?
Yeah.
You
What
have
is
to get
if you
that
just
kind of,
if it's just a whole, you know, just damaged teeth?
try it and let us know.
Yeah. Well, because I tried, at least I don't have pains anymore. So, but
No, that is a pain. Pain is
Really?
different than the growth. Pain
Yeah.
and growth is two different things. I mean, we say if you, a lot of you have, especially with the children, we've gone over this many times, many times. What do you call it? To avoid a lot of problem with the tooth, especially with the youngsters, is to just give them a block of cheese to chew, just a little bit every night before they go to sleep. It changes the environment exactly the same as you do with the reactors we show. It
Give him
changes
what?
a piece of cheese.
Cheese. Okay.
What the mouse likes, that cheese.
Yeah.
And in chewing it just before they go, it doesn't matter you brush the teeth, just give them a piece of cheese to chew. You find out you will not visit doctors, dentists that much. Doctors, the dentists don't like when I teach this. And they say, most of them, they say they know. But if you have no tooth problem, there is no money in the kitty and the Porsches and the Rolls Royces, but the dentist cannot be bought.
Yeah.
Now they found a new trick, everybody needs a root treatment. Advice from the dental structure is do not touch root treatment, because now you introduce a metal which can leak material into your blood that it comes up with a lot of side effects. This is a full information from the dentist with 30, 40 years of experience worldwide. But the doctors now, they find people finding a way to keep the teeth healthier. They found another way of doing it, root treatment. We need to do a root treatment. Take a block of cheese, even if you have a decayed tooth, you find out it helps. But don't, under no circumstances, please don't touch any or drink any gans or whatever to releasing the pain. When you use the pen from outside, is the interaction of the fields the same as you put the rest of your body.
In Japan, they eat natto. I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's spelled natto, and it's also said to be healing for the. And it's made of soybeans, and it's similar to cheese. It's also the bacteria in it, and yeah, that's what we have here, and we try to eat it a lot.
Where? Are you in Japan?
No, I'm in Germany, but I can get it here.
It's the easiest one is the cheese. Normal white cheese is the best.
Okay.
And the thing is, yeah, if you add the cheese with the what they call the walnuts, which is very popular to be done, especially in Germany and the rest, it adds the walnut carries a condition that in conjunction with the cheese creates something which is good for the energy balance for the brain.
I've just sent a link to the natto, the English Wikipedia page. Everyone can check it out. One other question: the official blueprint site. It's often you say that everyone should publish the blueprints, but on the blueprint side, there's only the blueprint from the MacRef, and it's also
you have to send your blueprints to Innovation Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where can we see all the blueprints?
It's on the drop. What do you call it? On the support. You go to Innovation. They look at it. They test it. If it works and it is correct, then it gets published.
Okay.
Okay, because otherwise people will flood the whole page. We put a page. You can go on a forum and just put your blueprints, what you've done. But officially to be blueprint, to be published by the foundation, has to be done with Brennan in the background. Because we have a team now, we have, what do you call it, the guy in Los Angeles and a guy in the Innovation Center in Philippines. What's his name? I keep on forgetting his name. They do everything in 3-dimension, properly done, that people can see the connection.
I think you're thinking of Robert, perhaps.
Robert, yeah. Robert is there with backing up that side with Renan. We need somebody for all these innovation. If you put it on the forum, just this is what I've invented and it works for this. People like Robert and what do you call it, Brennan, will go in, will pick it up, and it has to be done properly. Then we add it to the blueprint. Then you can see it, and it's got to be. Otherwise, a lot of people can put a lot of things and say because it was on Keshe Foundation Blueprint side, and it's wrong or whatever. Would they check it if it's there to be done and it doesn't work? Why not? But there is a blueprint. You can go on the forum and just open a section called Blueprint and put your blueprint. Put it public blueprint. Then it's publicly we do it together. We can do that and with all your reports.
Do the pens have to be polarized, and how?
What do you mean?
I mean with the to put the current out of it with this device.
Why polarized?
There's someone in the Keshe Foundation Germany Facebook group posted a picture where he measured the size of the fields from the microwave units and the pens, and he said he can see the fields and he put some different information according if there's GANs on it or there's no GANs on it, and all the different kinds.
It's nice. Maybe we have to learn from him if he goes back.
It was really good information, and he said once
send the link to the innovation center, let them test it, and we put it out. Why not? Yeah.
He said that when the pens are polarized, they have a field that is about, I think, 20 centimeters wide.
But what do you mean by polarizing?
1 second. That's by this device. I don't know how you would call it.
Voltmeter, yeah?
Yeah, with the voltmeter. And when you put the plus on, I think the plus on the nano copper and the minus on.
Can you give us the link? Put a link up if you can see it.
Yeah,
give us the link. We come in. We'll see. German Keshe Foundation research and websites and now the factory people producing their products is very active. And you're doing things immaculately thanks to all the Keshe Foundation supporters in Germany. If you can put a link, we'll learn. We see a lot of people putting a lot of new things they developed. And it's good to know if you have done that, and we can check it out. There is something which is sitting in the background. I showed it once in, and I passed it very quickly in Valletta when we showed the systems, the Saka unit. A lot of you who have pain and you have a lot of things to do and you don't have a patch and you got your system, the stacker system, you can place your hand or the body where it hurts over the system, the blue boxes we sell, and these create certain fields from the body of the man which help. Okay.
Just posted the link.
You posted the link. Brennan, could you please pick up this post till we can, what do you call it? Can you send the link to the, just go on the post of the drop down on the support innovation and send it to them and it goes up.
Yeah, sure, but it's in German.
Yeah, no problem. We translate it. We are a multinational. There is a thing we have seen a lot of, we've seen this in the past few days. We don't mention the name because he already has enough things from it. We know some of you who appear, especially in Germany, and you people start asking you questions, or they see what you explained, and it gives you a popularity for what you've done, and you have to explain. You become the teacher of the foundation without you wanting it because you showed something here. It doesn't matter which country around the world. Please don't hesitate. Teach. That's why you came, to show what you've done. That's why we are here. And if you learn it or you learn something and you come on these teachings, the gentleman wrote, he works in a company with 290,000 people, and 800 of them in certain part of Germany, if I remember correctly. And a lot of his colleagues are asking them questions because now because he has to explain. And the young generation are grabbing it, and the old they see it as a threat, they have to reject it. He knows who he is. I know what I'm talking about. Hopefully he knows. So you shouldn't be afraid. These are the pleasures. This should be added. We become teachers, and in a way, if by appearing on the Keshe Foundation teachings, then people come and ask you. That's why you appear. Otherwise, what's the use? Not just to learn, to show, teach. Be proud that you can add to the knowledge of human race. And it's nice to see these things. I see a lot of people around the world adding knowledge all over the place. Very soon there is not enough room around the internet to put all these tests. 7 billion people, let's say 1 billion of them want to add the test system, and they want to put it on.
I feel like it's almost like that already. It's hard to keep up with everything.
Thank you very much for sharing.
I have no more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Wins, can I go out or am I still on a hold? So tell me when, okay?
Okay, there was a couple of other people that came in as panelists. I wonder if they have questions or something to present. Somebody would like to open their microphone and let us know.
Hi, Mr. Keshe. This is Masfek Rashid.
Can you turn your voice up, please?
Yeah, this is Masfek Rashid. I'm in Los Angeles. I previously presented this mini spaceship, but I have some experience with spherical coil and treating illnesses among some of my friends. So I want to show some pictures of what I did, and I have a few questions as well.
Okay, can we share a screen, please?
Okay, so I'm going to start my gallery before I share it.
Make sure they cannot see your screen. Make sure you are fully on what you want to show, that no one can see what programs you have in the background.
And are these your own images and not a copy?
Images.
Okay, great.
Okay. Okay, can you see my pictures?
No, you got to share your screen first. There's a green button says, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We see now. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so let me go back. Oops.
Can you remove those articles from the table, please? There are some magazines on the knee.
Okay, I can. These are static pictures of tests I've run. But anyway, I'll just talk instead of.
Can you remove the pictures, please?
Okay. So
it's a photograph. I don't think he can't remove the. You'd have to take
when you show these things, please. This is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably okay on that.
Let me talk over. No, I'll stop sharing. Okay. So anyway, let me talk about what I have done. I have used 2 spherical coils, and one going to the sink and one powered with a plasma battery.
Repeat again, you use 2 coils.
Yeah, the essentially spherical arrangement.
Yeah, the sphere inside 2 coils that they make a space of 90 degrees and an angle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one with plasma battery, and the other has two wires going to the salt water.
Yeah.
So I tested it on few of my friends. I have tried pain pen with some of these friends before, and in one specific case, which is she hurt her toe, and then eventually the whole leg was hurting very bad, and she could hardly walk. So I used the pain, and it removed the pain at the toe, but it did not remove the rest of it. So by the time I had the coil ready, so I placed it under the knee as well as above the knee for 10 minutes each one day, and that removed that part of the pain and that part of the leg. And later, but the rear end was hurting as well, which was the worst part. There I applied it for 15 minutes the following day. The pain diminished about half, and then I did it once again. It's almost gone, but it's so little that she's not. We haven't done it again. But this is a sciatic nerve pain, and I asked a doctor friend of mine about it, and she said that there is no treatment really. You just wait, and it slowly goes away and rest. But most people can rest, so this was very quick. So this is one result I have. Another one, this is a friend who has serious arthritic pain in both hands and feet. And it's so strong that the bones there is deformation of bone in these cases. So first I tried the pen pain, and what it did is that it reduced the temperature of one of the hands, and she could hardly move some of the fingers in proper way because of this arthritic condition, but her mobility was increased considerably. She could close her hand, which wasn't possible before. And later on, I did the same thing with the coils, the coil arrangement with salt water, and on both hands and feet. And the same temperature decrease was noticed on the hand I was applying, and the mobility increase and all that. So I'm planning on doing it some more. So these are two cases. Another case where a friend of mine has shoulder pain. So I first tried pen pain. It went away, but it came back using the reflexology map. I used the coil. It has decreased, but not by much. So I don't know what to do with that one. So this is my experience with the coils and the pen. I have used pen on others, and generally it has been very quick, within 10-15 minutes. Most of the pain goes away. In terms of applying pads, I have some questions, and like, should the pad be a combination of CO2 zinc and copper oxide, or just CO2 zinc, for example? So, and how, I have some question. I haven't used it. I have given the pads to one person, and she has used it, but I was using the coil at the same time, so I don't know what affected what. But so that's the situation.
Depends on how you use it and how it's been used and what you do with it. But generally, it should not be surprising, as I've explained before. You take energy which is not needed, and you give the energy which is needed. That's why the pain reduces. And because the body has not healed, or the body has not processed itself, you see, you might have to do it a few times. If it's a long-term pain, you find that it comes back, and people say, I used it, it was okay, and it just came back again. Yes, of course, because your brain is still producing material to stop a pain which is not there, and that itself causes more pain. A lot of you, which you go through the process now, you learn these systems, use for a back spine, people who got, as you said, sciatic nerve problem, which comes directly from the squeezing of the discs on the nerve itself. A lot of you who have a back problem, if you develop the technology we explained with the seats last Thursday, you find out you go through more pain for a while, because when you have to realize your nerve got squeezed over time. And now that you're releasing the pain, the nerve is growing back to its size. It's the same pain that's gone down, and it's more, sometimes more than before. And then it disappears, then it's done. So these are the things. You use a system for the pains, your chronic pains, which has been there for years. You got to, is not that you don't sort the pain out, you sort the pain out, but body has gone to automatic process of producing materials to overcome the pain. It's just like sending continuously sedation material to the point, and now the point is not there, the pain is not there, but the sedation material is continuously coming in. It's them who create the next pain. So you have to go over and over till the body learns it's nothing here, it's not needed to produce. It's literally like phantom pain in the places you processed.
There is another situation that's interesting in case of my friend who has the arthritis, is that her hand didn't have much pain, but the pain increased on the wrist. So it's kind of like the pain moved, and it was fairly strong when I tried.
The pain doesn't move. The pain doesn't move. It's just that the information, the energy which is come in, now has nowhere to go. So the next step up is where the pain is released, because that's when the problem with human body is that usually it does not accept its own energy back on its own nerve system. If we had a recycling system in our neural system, even if you get a pain and you feel the pain and it goes back, it's two different strengths. And body has adjusted itself to such immaculate nano microvolts, microamps, that everything is done. So body hasn't created a system that it can take. If it sends the information, it's not needed, back to itself. So when it gets there, it's not needed, it releases it, and we call it the pain, phantom pain. A lot of these reversal you see and it moves up, it's because you sorted the thing out, but the body's continuously been producing this material. Then it carries on sending what I call the antidote, or the pain release, or what you call it, sedation information, and it's not needed now. So it has to go somewhere. It gets released, and then you see, say, pain goes up. We have to understand the process. It's not that we done this and it moved somewhere else, because now it's not. Then you have to carry on with it, or what I explained with the full body system. With a full body system, you cover everything. You don't get it going upper and upper.
So can the pad be used in combination? I don't apply it all the time, like when I see them, but in between.
You see, you have to apply the pads and all this system on intervals. You take the pain away, body is still producing whatever. You let the body to adjust itself, you introduce it again, the body learns, and it takes time to reverse the condition. One of the most interesting thing will be when some of you start learning how to take use or make system that can remove cells. Like, you know, when you have, like you said, arthritis, and you have these lumps on the joints and everything, come up with a solution, a system that can create a balanced condition like you did with the cancer, that the calcium becomes phosphor or becomes another material, that it can be energy transferred out of the system or be digested or dissolved in the structure of the body of the man to go through.
So how would I alter the coil to do something like that?
Understand the technology, all of it is there. Study, understand. You need to create a direction of flow or an environment in a position that the, what you call the residual become dilution. There are a number of ways to do it. I'm going to take the screen share from you, and we talked about it already. But we go back, if I can. No, I cannot do that. Am I there? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep.
I'm going to go on the screen share. It's usually this one.
Yes.
Yes, you can see the screen. So what you need to do is to...
Can you enlarge this, Mr. Keshe? Maybe just full screen this window?
Yeah, I was going to suggest if you could make the picture bigger, your paint picture.
In upper right corner.
Upper right corner, yes, Marco.
Okay, so the middle one, yeah?
No.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, it's better.
Marco. Okay, so now what you got to learn is how to start processing your structures. How you can add, how you can take away. So when you make your system, it's very interesting. Let's look at one of the systems you made with the coils on it, single coil or a double coil. You got to be able to add to this strength, but take away from this one. that somewhere here you find the energy balance you need for a cell. That you can transfer the cell energy to yourself, or you put another system within the system that the energy transfer compared to the environment changes, and the system is become diluted and gets absorbed as energy into the bloodstream or into the lymph, and then you don't have the problem. So what is interesting is how you can create a system where you come to the bone structure. You have two choices. Bone, calcium. If it is calcium and it's not salt of one shape or another, is controlled by the parathyroid glands. Or you find them and change the information, because now it's become patent. It's pattern of production, you can't stop it. Or you create a condition in your system that converts the matter to another matter which body can use. So you go to the parathyroid glands because all the elements like bone are there in this structure. Or you here create it that this learns and copies. When you make systems like this, which are dealing with a bone extension, if it is a bone, if it's not cartilage bone extension, you have to put like calcium on your coil, because now you're dealing only with the calcium. This is why I tell you, and I've taught in a lot of teachings, and it just goes and somehow it's not understood. When you have a, what do you call it, a cancer case, for example, don't just ask for a blood test. Ask for the content of metals and heavy elements and see which one is elevated. So it says copper, for example, or it says iron or whatever, which means this is the cause of your cancer. This is the seed of the cancer. So what do you do in your systems? You find the gravitational magnetic field of this, and what do? You create it here. And because yours is dynamic, going through, literally changes it and you can carry it out. It's a very, very special way to do it. I've created a number of these systems and it works. Now, with what you just shown with the dynamic coils, where you create a GANs in the middle here, what I call the plasma, free plasma. Now you can change the plasma. Start understanding how you can change it. Or you create another plasma in the system that the combination of the two creates the plasma which you need here to handle the cancer. Now the game is over. The play is yours. Extend your knowledge and take the hat of restriction out of your, what do you call it, out of your head, and you can all develop these things. As I said, and it's in the talk of the tape which has gone out, no knowledge has been given to any race so openly at the same time to all of you that there is no difference between you lot. Now expand and move and do. There is no limit to it. The more you do, the more you understand, the more you can add, and the more you teach. And people who say, as I said before, we done this and we done that, it taught technology to you. So why can we steal it? We want to add to it. No inventor, no scientist has ever asked his teaching to be done. They all used to go and write the patterns, nobody knows. I might make $1 million out of it. You're all millionaires with the knowledge of humanity. So use it. Don't be afraid anymore what happens. We become our own researchers, we become our own, what I call, developers. But teach. It might not be useful to you, but it's useful to somebody else. Somebody else might understand from it. We have this situation now in the Innovation Center. One of the, what I call, our researchers came up with something which he did not like. And the other one immediately jumps on it. Yeah, this is something we've been looking for. To you was no good, but we can do a lot with it here. So share, and we share. Now we are testing. If we find out, as I said to you, we allow the inventors to come in, or we announce on behalf of the Innovation Center. We think we are correct to announce that we have found a plasma diode. Said before. And most probably we have found the sync system, which is very important in electronics. Finding a sync system costs a lot of technology development. It's very, very simple. It just comes somebody didn't know that demonstrator can. This is what we're looking for. And if we are correct and the sync system compares correctly, we have solved part of the big part of the energy supply into a generator. So come and share, we learn from you. And what might not be nothing to you could be something to somebody who has a part of the knowledge in other hand. Any other question?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, this is Richard from Germany.
Good morning. Are we speaking after the teaching?
Do you want to?
Okay,
I would like to. I have several questions I want to ask you.
Okay, let me sort something. Renan, are we talking immediately after the teaching?
Yes, sir. We have a scheduled meeting.
Okay, so Richard, we speak at about, let's say, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, that would be good.
With the German factory team. Okay, that's perfect. Do you want to ask your questions then we can go through it and then we come back?
No, I wanted to actually show you several things that are actively on the R&D table now with the medical devices, and to show people how we made the connection.
This is as part of the Keshe manufacturing team in Germany.
Mm-hmm, correct. We're here as a team and we're replicating everything and trying. We're actually in the background. You see the video?
You have to bring it forward. Can you? I'm going to take the sharing off.
Yeah.
I can see the others count. I have to stop sharing that you can come in. Okay, I'm out. You share your screen and teach us, please.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, it's a bit boring, but maybe not. I'll point out what we have here. This is a three-phase electrical system. So it basically has one phase, and I have to orientate myself a bit, second phase, third phase. And we're monitoring that with a device to monitor the whole load of the whole house. So that's being tested right now. The thing I wanted to show you is on
what does it mean? What does it mean, this system you call three-phase?
Sorry?
What do you mean by three-phase?
I'll show you.
And what are you testing?
These are three energy units. So 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Phase 1, phase 2, actually phase 1, phase 3, and phase 2, and they feed into the system. And what we see is that there is a large field around these, and it goes into the center and it just mingles here. So that's what we see now with this.
What are you doing with it? Are you feeding the house with it?
This is now running for 24 hours now, right? Yeah. This one is running for 24 hours and has a first load on it. In the background, you see a light or lights. And that's the first load that's going on there now.
Do you see any reduction, or do you see anything we can learn from?
Yeah, we saw some reduction, not on this system. I can't say anything about this system yet, but we saw a reduction on another system, but we had a mistake in the capacitor setup. So we're fixing that now up, and we had a reduction, carefully set, 7 to 9% on that one. So that was not good.
Let me explain something while you're on the phone, on the line. Brad has taught somebody in one electrical man, what do you call it, a wizard in it, how to make system. And the gentleman has reached zero power.
Mm-hmm.
He's just told the guy on the line. I think even Brad is not aware of it, maybe he is. But we just been told past few days that the guy has managed to save zero power in London. There is something while you're on this, let me explain to you. It's important. A lot of people have a problem with their meter system. They don't have a problem. The meter systems has been set that even though you are using your energy more than you do, but you're still paying the same bill. A lot of new intelligence systems, especially in certain countries, we know now in Philippines to be correct, more or less, is that it's preset. Doesn't matter whatever you use or you don't use, you pay what is known as a standard charges in Europe. In Europe, they give you a standard charge. You pay so much for the fuel, so much for the line, transmission line company, and the rest. In the countries where governmental offices are involved, as a power supply unit, they preset your system. It says, I don't see any reduction in my bill because your system is preset by your government. So in fact, you go to zero, but in reality, you still cover the costs of the transmission, the power stations, and the rest of it. You got to realize in most of the countries, the energy power you say is connected to the fuel used to produce the energy. In some countries, they split it. And in some countries, they make it as a standard charge. So your standard charge will not change even though your power energy has reduced. And then you say nothing is reduced from my bill because you pay fixed meter per meter. It's not that if I don't use it goes totally to zero. In certain countries, they call them smart meters or pre-programmed meters. Don't forget, a lot of you, if you don't know, in the countries like UK, they call it pre-calculated power charges. This is one of them. But in a lot of countries, and now mainly by a lot of electricity boards used around the world, is your what do you call the information technology is added on top of your power supply. So they don't need to connect your system to a computer. You don't need to connect your meter to internet. Through the pulses within your power supply, they send information, computer, what do you call it, internet information, and they control your meter. They preset it. If the charge goes up, nobody comes and change your meter. This way, a lot of governments have found out to get around, you don't change meters, you don't need to change a lot of things. So what you see in a lot of countries, people, we say we bought the Maghraf system, but our bill has not changed or has not reduced totally because you have a preset system. Check your preset system. If you have a preset system, you can use more and more power, but your system will not go any higher, but you still pay the standard charges. On the other hand, we see in certain countries, because now there is a lot of units has gone out, I get a lot of information in the background. In some of the countries, you see the reduction and the government wants to change your meter because they think there is something faulty. You better explain the system to your government, what is coming, and put them in line with the Keshe Foundation website. So this is the technology which is everybody's making, they can do it themselves. So allows the government to look into the new way to be able to cover their expenses if it's not showing profit to shareholding, because a lot of the electricity companies have been sold to private section, which they means they have to show profit for their customers or the shareholders. So do not get what you call it, amused, or do not get puzzled that I can't go to zero. You never go to zero because you have a preset, fully what they call smart meters. But in fact, if you use 10 kilowatt, you still pay that preset amount. If you use 20 kilowatt, you still pay that preset amount. So please be aware, these are the things you got to understand is happening. Because governments have to, this started in 1980s when statute came, especially in government, and then the rest of the governments around the world copied it. So what they did, they sold the transmission line of the British electricity to one company, they sold them power stations to one company, they sold the meterage and selling to another company, but the expenses has to be covered. Privatization brought this in. And because you don't use electricity, the company which sells you the energy still has to pay the transmission company because they're renting cables or cable transmission or whatever from them. This doesn't stop. So unless you unplug yourself totally from the system that you produce your energies, hopefully soon we can give you power generators to come in, then you have your standard payment. It's not that the technology doesn't work, It's you, your commitment to your government, which is put the pre-setting up. Carry on, Richard.
Okay. There is another interesting thing that we came up with during setup. We were making sort of single core units. You see them here on the floor, and in the other, I can put the oscilloscope next to it. Can you see this? Yeah, approximate, right?
Yes. Yes.
It is not about the detail. You can see these waveforms appearing on the oscilloscope. Let me see if I can get that better for you.
Yes, we saw it. I noticed it was on the
Yeah,
top.
yeah, it was really.
When it's on the floor, it's better. We see it better when it's on the floor.
I'll
Tilt it a little bit. Tilt it. Turn it a little bit till we can see it, please. It was good before. No, we can see a shadow of it. Yeah. No, it's got bad. It got worse. Just turn it a little bit more the way it was. The other way, the other way, the other way, the other way. Bit more. Wait. Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay.
Every now and then, yeah. Now
What actually happened, we were testing them if the flow of energy was actually existing in the coils, and we were testing them with the new capacitors, and we just hooked them in series.
You hooked them in series, one system to another.
Yeah, so close the loop, and then it started doing this, and it's doing it completely on its own. We have split capacitors with nano-coated aluminum on one part.
Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you why it does it. This is, you should have seen this. What will be interesting is to stand still totally. If you can put a fourth stacker up, or even with one stacker, yeah, one system, and don't make any move. These are your movement, which affects the plasma of the system, which and then it affects the what do you call it, the current flow in the coils. Sit down and think. See if your thinking changes it. Keep as still as you can, that you don't create any vibration, and think good and think bad, think crazy, whatever, and see if they start moving and how they move.
Well, what happened was, when it was a while in there and we were concentrating, the whole thing went berserk and it just loaded up. And then it gave off a stable, constant 140, 150 millivolts suddenly, and just kept that way, like this, but then 150. See that? Then it becomes a really big bar, like this.
Yeah.
And it stays like that.
Because you interact when you speak or whatever, you move with the plasma. Now you interact, and the plasma, because of the what do you call it, the copper wire you have, which is inside your nano coating, the energy transfers into that copper, and you can measure in your oscilloscope in the matter state of the magnetic gravitational field strength.
Yes, very, very important in the measurement. We are measuring matter state, so we are connected to a bare copper wire in the system.
Yeah, because you don't have a choice.
You cannot measure it otherwise.
Yeah, no. But when you connect your system into the into the oscilloscope point of interface, from there on, it's still a matter. So
yes,
one way somebody changes to matter state.
Yeah, right. Okay. So that was an interesting thing to see. So we're playing around with that now. And we have made the, I'll show you first the nano-coated one. The medical device, let me see if you can see that properly. What we did, we situated them, it's not sharp, is it? I'll show you about this.
I think your 3D machine works better than the almonds.
Yeah, we use a saw.
Use a saw, not a 3D.
No.
Oh, use a 3D, it's much faster.
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay, show it.
You see?
I bet the almond doesn't agree with you, so what happens?
We have here the picture how we constructed it. You can see that.
Looks
there?
nice. Yeah. I switched my microphone up, then you can speak.
Oh, okay, good.
Can
So
you
what we
explain?
did, we made these quick connections. You can see them in the picture. These, these connections. Let's say they're the Armin connections. Let's call them the Armin connections. And we put a sort of wrap here that we tightened, and it's basically already together then. So you have 3 connections, quick connections, and at the end of the wires we have the twists like this. So we can just stick it into another wire. Very quick connection. I just wanted to show everyone that it's an easy way to connect.
Can you send that to Innovation, let them do it, and then we can show that on if you have such a thing. It's very nice. Yeah. When are you going to produce your first system from German manufacturing?
We're in the process of the full prototype of the system. So we're testing everything. The capacitors, the housing, the connections to the housing, the everything. But we also have to support
somebody in the Dutch Facebook has put a system that they use a capacitor battery unit, and it can reduce the power in the house, reading the meters.
No, I haven't seen them doing it. Yes, but we're only working with these capacitors. So the aluminum.
Yeah, these capacitors, they've used this new battery capacitors.
Yeah.
There is somewhere I've seen it, and they say it reduces the power supply instead of the using the coil. If people can test it as a part of the Keshe Foundation, it makes it much easier for others to use it. But the stacker unit, which we keep on producing, will tell you later on what is needed to be done, and we'll explain it as what's going to happen. As I explained, one of them is put your hand on top of the stacker, and you find a lot of pain and a lot of. If you haven't made a GANS unit, hold your hand on top of the unit and decide which part of the body hurts or you got a pain in, and concentrate on it, and you find the pain will go through where it needs to go, the energy to do it. So you can start using the MAGRAPH systems as part of the reprocessing the pain and a lot of emotional pains. Number of people are using it, so we share the knowledge, and they've seen the results. Just put your hand on top of your MAGRAPH system. You receive the energy imbalance.
Yeah, it doesn't make.
What else? What's the other thing on the floor in the background with the black things on it?
That,
yeah.
That's part of the production. It's messy. It's all pieces of rubber isolation from a wire. We nano-coated it, and we're going to use it in prototyping.
Okay, no problem.
And
don't
I want
throw your nanomaterial like that. They crush the walls. Respect for them.
I wanted to show you this because I've seen a lot of people working with aluminum and trying to get it nano-coated. We recently achieved nano-coating the aluminum foil. This is really thin foil. If you see the difference, it's nano-coated. And it took a while to find out and fine-tune. We lucky guessed it, I guess. And what happened is we had a large volume of water, and we submerged the paper completely inside, and we put a ladle caustic in there. I'm talking little.
What? Repeat, please, because a lot of people are trying to make nano.
I know.
Yeah.
Submerge the whole paper in water. Make short pieces. Don't get them double. Only one piece. Get it in the water. Make sure you have caustic in the water. The temperature of the water should be high, like 50, 60 degrees. And you will see that if you add the caustic to it, it will start reacting with the paper, but never making real bubbles. Really, it's only a small reaction, so you should never have a fast reaction. Then the paper will disintegrate and fall apart, and nothing is left. So you
What
really
about if we put a? Can we put a Richard? Can we put a cold caustic into the hot water?
I've done it by making hot water, and we tested it with just tap water, and we added just cold caustic to it. Just
Caustic
already
powder
made,
or a caustic
no,
water
already
from the
made
past?
used caustic. So it's liquid caustic.
Use caustic. You use it for something else, you just add to it.
Yeah, we have made it for the coil dipping, and we just took about, what is it, 40, 50 cc's in 10 liters. But it was a mix of, it's a GAN's mix of a caustic mixed with water already. So the amount would translate into approximately 30, 40 grams of caustic in a liter of water, something like that. But I'm not sure on that. We have to test it. Was a rough guess in that
Okay,
direction.
that's good. Thank you very much.
But be careful on the caustic. It should be very, very low.
Let me explain to you something now. We're in them. A lot of people are working on these things. If you are, this is what I was explaining to our space, what do you call it, a spaceship team. If you want to create a perfect flight system that you can control it, try to use the fire method and the caustic method. Because caustic, if you get particles of the caustic on your nano layers and you don't get rid of it completely, you find out you won't find a balance system. And then this becomes sometime in the future a problem in control. I have to, as I said earlier on, we are heading in the direction of the first flight system. The Keshe Foundation Spaceship Group has been told what they need to do. It's about a few of them in there now. We only, what you call, Ali decides who he brings in, what he sees and what can be done. I've explained what is the next step. And in the next few days or next few weeks, once the knowledge adds up and they can understand it and build the coils, we should be able to see the first cycles of testing of people exploring. Let me explain to you what it is and how you got to test it too, because I know some of you are very good at it. Okay, can you bring one of your sets up, please? If you, it doesn't matter if you move them, please, Richard. Any ones which doesn't damage your structure. This is a simple coil structure, yeah? We don't see it, can you bring it? Yeah. Turn it the other way. You have a little gas ball in there, I presume, a ball, a ping pong ball. What's in there?
This one is filled with CH3.
CH3, a ball, okay. Do not, make sure this ball fixed, doesn't move, and it has to stay in touch with your coil. This has to stay in touch with your coil. We're talking about the spaceship technology in lifting. So you have to find a ball which fits perfect, that the coil sits around it totally. You got to nano coat this ball inside and outside. Understand we are heading towards the space technology for lift and motion.
Yes. Yes.
When you have got the ball, you nano coated it, fill in the ball with a very light GaNs, means CH3. If you can go even in tritium, some people say they can do, go to that level. The GaNs which you use has to be at least 80% total volume of the ball. Then you...
Sorry, question. 80% of the ball should be filled with the light material, right?
Pardon?
Okay. It should be filled with the light material, like...
Light, yeah, you need... you see, if you have... Let me explain, Richard. If you have copper oxide or zinc oxide or whatever on the copper coil, this one has to be like CH3 or CO2. But most of you have CO2 on your coil. So CH3 is one of your best options, or lighter than CH3. So we need a substantial thing that you can see it. You fill in the other 20% with atomic hydrogen or molecular hydrogen, depending on how much vacuum can create, and you seal the container. Now, a lot of you go back to the original teachings of the foundation in the Sensano. I know a lot of teaching has gone off because of the stupidity of one guy who went and wiped a lot of things out, but they're getting redone and they'll come out. And hopefully the gentleman soon will be exactly well wiped out. He'll be wiped out because of the damages done to humanity by the abuse of children. Then what you will understand is that what you have created the same condition as the situation in the Sensano. Your CO, say, copper oxide ring is a powerful plasma. Your CH3 in the ball is the intermediary. And if you can create a right flow plasma through your system, you will start seeing the GaNs material moves up and it starts rotating. And in that process, the hydrogen will take the center of the coil. If you remember going back to the teachings, can I take this, can you stop sharing, which I explain and we come back to you, Richard, please? Richard, can you stop your sharing the camera, please? I can take over. I explain.
Yes, I'll cancel the spotlight.
You should be able to, Mr. Keshe.
I can do it.
You should be able to, I think, yeah.
Okay, we are back. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was explaining this to the what do you call it, this please, group. You can understand what's happening. This is your coil. This is your inner coil. This is the ball which you have placed in the middle, nano-coated both inside and outside. Then you have put CH3 in it. What I can do is, if I can use this. What you've done, you put the CH3 inside it. But you have to use 80% CH3. So now you have a gap in here. Fill this gap. Richard, can you stop your microphone, please? Thank you. So fill this gap with atomic hydrogen. And what you're going to see, if you remember in the teachings, where we showed that you used to rotate your ball, and what used to happen, we used to see the ball, and then we see the, what do you call it, the GaNs to be as there. We used to see the water being here, and now what you see, the plasma start moving, the GaNs start rotating. Somebody on the internet has already shown how to use the coil to rotate the GaNs material in the ball. So go and find out how it's done, or you can come on the internet and teach you. You can come on the teachings. Somebody has managed to achieve rotation of the plasma of the GaNs using the coils and the GaNs. But now what we add to the knowledge is that if you add the hydrogen, sorry, I have to change this one because I made a color difference. This should be, if I can make this all green. This is the, here to here you see the water. Yeah? Here you have the GaNs. And as you have nano-coated your ball, the GaNs does not ever attach to the ball. So it's free. And then what happens when this starts rotating, at a given point, the hydrogen sinks in the center where it was principal matter, and then you see a flash of light. You should see two flashes of light. One, the hydrogen at the interface of the water, one at the interface of the GANs. Which means now this is the same structure as a star. And then this energy, because it's on the hydrogen level, if we come to here now, if you see, this is the body, this is the core. Now this field, which is coming like a sun, it comes out, interacts with your first and the second coil, and you see a full interaction of field light. So for the first time, you can see the light in the sky. This goes back, and then what you have a light here, a light there, a light as part of three stars, three stacker unit, and a light on the top. I'm going to move this up. And then what you get, exactly like a body, they create themselves their own atmosphere. And for the first time, you will see the shell of your spaceship. Now, go back to beginning of the teaching. 2 or 3 points here has been added. CO2, let's say this is the ring here. CO2 in the ring here. The intermediary, this is your CO2 on the rings. This is the intermediary of the GANs of CH3. And then you have intermediary of the hydrogen. If you change this one to a CO2, if you go back to the teaching in the Sensano where we did the 129, now you learn, we had 2 more reactors here. The stronger one tries to feed the weaker one. So what happens, the energy from here going into the center, in interacting with the hydrogen, in the division, in the strength, will create a magnetic gravitational field forces which starts rotating the plasma. Now you see all the teaching from the beginning. The gas reactors, and the coils now complete the circle of the teaching of the Keshe Foundation in respect to space technology.
That's hydrogen GANs, right?
Hydrogen GANs, if you can produce it, or you can use atomic hydrogen, it will come automatically that way. There are different ways of doing it. Rick can teach you in the teachings of in the foundation, but you can do it with aluminium. Aluminium and caustic produces according to high level of hydrogen you can collect. So now we have completed this part of the teaching. So now you understand the process. You need to create a rotation of different mass combination in your reactors, that in your base reactors for the first time you keep the rotation, and your rotation actually should be this way. And then in the interaction of these, creating this, in the interaction of the top, will give you the total control through the emotion and the physical structure. You can have both. There is something which you understand now, completed. The structure of the teaching from the beginning of 2 years ago now is come to exploration. Go on the internet, find out how the gentleman has managed to rotate the GANs. And this is how the rotation of the planet and the stars begins. A high power outside, very low interface of the plasma of like a hydrogen here, helium here, and another dimensions from the pressure from the galaxy, it creates the rotation of the plasma. And then it creates its own shell. We have completed the teaching. Now you see it's coming together very nicely. There is another point which I go back into the teaching of, especially which I put this one, save it as whatever we want to call it, GAN score. GAN score. Now we go back into part of the teaching which was brought up by Ali last time. This is important. A lot of you have created, now you create the star formation. And then that's what it does. You have to understand that here you have one set. Here you have another set. Here you have a third set. In respect to the top, you still have a face here, a face with that one, a face on the bottom, and there is a face which is facing us somewhere here. The combination of the interaction of these four field forces lead to creation of what we call the free plasmas over here. These yellow ones are created out of the matter interaction of the plasma. They have no matter connection here because there is no coils here. And now the interaction of these four has led to creation of a total plasmatic condition out of interaction of the plasmas. But this plasma itself, because it's independent of the others, interacts with these entities now. And this interaction creates another plasma somewhere here. Now understand, as I explained to the core team. 1, 2, 3, what do you call it? The 4. Either way you want to look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I point out this here, maybe you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one should have a link there that it shows you. That is, if you, I can do it in different color, you can see. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4 reactor. Now you have the 5, the 6, the 7, and the 8. And then the interaction of the two gives you the magic number, or what you call the magic number. If I can choose a number which is don't have, we go for a purple, 9. This is why in a lot of religions number 9 is completed. 9 is a completion of the physicality of the creation, created. With it you have the physicality and you have the emotion. And then when you add the interaction of the emotion with the physicality, you have the source of the soul. That's number 10. And then you have, in a way, if you take the whole circle as 1, which is 9 included in it, now you have a 10. Now you have the same from another entity, which has another one and its own totality. Now you understand why we choose 12 as a completion. This as a man, and the 12 as an interaction of the totality with the universal community. That's the significance of the 12 and the 9. A Star of David and a completion by the orders of the universal order. This is the structure which those of you who attend the conference in Dubai will understand the significance of. The Universal Council will be 12 in the seat at the center, because that way creates a condition for, as is set for it, the Universal Council. Vince, are we ready to go or are we still waiting? How long would you be? 10 minutes, maybe. Okay, so now you see how the whole understanding of the technology, all the teachings are coming together. Because we're getting near to the point of releasing the totality by you as humanity, as one group. And if you understand this structure, you understand even how you can contact or connect to the soul of other beings or the universe. So what it does, it gives you the totality. Here is your soul, but your soul is in contact now with another soul, and that's how you see physicality of the others. And if you extend it, you interact with the whole of the universe on the same basis. The teaching is not, as I said, it's not going to be just only on Thursday mornings anymore. You got to watch, operate, and go across. I think the international teachings has to be joined as part of the teaching number blah blah and the rest of it. Because we teach equal all the time and people only go on the last teaching because they think they don't want to be on the international, but it's part of the one. So now you understand with what is on the table. We've seen with the systems which you have made, how now you enter the dimension of the interaction of the physicality with the emotion. In a way, if you go back on the teachings and what we saw with people like Ali, I will put it there and I will call it universal connection. We save it. So now, if you understood with the system which was made by Ali and the others of you using the stacker units, and we told you to put 3 stackers on top of each other, now you should be able to see what you have walked yourself into. What you have walked yourself into is you already entered in so many ways what we just explained. One, 2, 4, 3, 9. You have created your own soul, 10. And now you have made a first condition with interaction where you want the other soul of the other entity to be for you to interact. We have already walked you into the universal community. That's number 10. And this is number 11. Now you decide where number 12 is going to be. The physicality touch of what you remember from your mother, or a point in the space. The way you can instantaneously connect to your mother, you can instantaneously connect to the point. 0 time travel. So now you understand how I slowly bring you to the point where you, without knowing, walk into the situation exactly where you needed to be. Now you see the Star of David. Star of David is a sign of humanity in its physicality. We have completed another part of the promise of the past for you to understand the totality. And your first step in contact and in connection with the universal community, understanding their soul, that because they're coming to each other, has already been done by a number of you. You have to learn how to tune with it, and then you find out your wish becomes your command in opening the line of communication with the universal community. But you have to understand what fields you create here. That this field is in comparison to the creature which you want to communicate with. And replication of the balance has to exist that you can complete it. In a way, you have to have the loop. Then what you emotionally feel here will be from what it feels, and it transfers to your physicality. You see the being, you don't need the eye to see. You see it within your brain, within your emotion. The point is, would we advance enough by April that the first contacts will be confirmed? Is the man ready to see and enter that by setting up the council in April and thereon, we can open the avenues to the universal community and bring peace on this planet? So try to understand a lot of things, why these numbers and figures has been played with for centuries by different teachers. Any questions? Have I been speaking to myself?
No, not at all. Well, in maybe a higher sense. Is there any other than your deeper self? I'm not hearing any questions from, oh, there was another question, or someone has something they wanted to ask or present, and Miguel was been patiently waiting. Miguel, would you like to say what you like there? Hello, Miguel, I'm not hearing you. Your microphone is open. Well, you'll have to, oh, I hear some static there. I think you'll have to fix your microphone connection, or, oh, hello? Can you
hear me?
Yeah, can you speak up?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Very barely, it's hard to hear.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to speak louder then. Hi, Mr. Keshe. This is Miguel Moreno from Mexico City. I want to show you. Can I share my screen?
Are you sure you have the right microphones chosen? It's very weak, hard to
I
hear.
think you check your microphone setting on the Zoom. You're on your, are you using a headphone with a microphone?
Yeah, I am using the
yeah, I think you better go on your microphone setting and change it to your microphone headphone.
Okay.
I think you're using the computer.
I will
exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm learning. After 2 years of you lot teaching me, I'm learning.
Now you're teaching us again.
Carry
Okay,
on.
I think you'll get that sorted quickly here. Let's see, we have somebody else that's just raised their hand. And
I have a question about the meeting in Dubai. Mario again from Germany.
Okay.
When exactly do the meetings start and when do they end? It's because of the plane tickets. When I buy the plane tickets, it's good to know when I can arrive and when I can leave again. So when is basically the check-in, check-out, and also the when do?
Let me explain. We need. That's why I keep on asking when's in the background. Are we ready? How fast can you type? How much do we have left? Okay, please do not go on the website. Just give our team in the background. Vince and Carlos have done a lot of work to have this ready. First of all, we announced the following. The conference will be held at Atlantis Hotel in Dubai. It's one of the most prestigious hotels in the world. The rates which we have secured is literally impossible, but as we said, it's part of the world peace process. It's been secured. We have been given 900 beds in this hotel. From there on, if we reach the 900, we go to the next hotel nearby. We can accommodate between 300 to 1,000 people depending on availability and how fast we get a booking. The rate for Atlantis Hotel Palm Beach or Palm has been set at 500 euro as we promised. The 500 euro gives you 3 nights bed and 2 mornings breakfast. In addition, if you have already, a number of people have made the reservation, go back on the net, you need to make reservation for food. Anyone who comes in, because we don't want complication in the process, you have to book for your food. Then we don't have to go who's paid food, who doesn't pay. This way we sort it out with the hotel, everybody will be paid, and then we have no problem, it'll be on your cards. Because when you carry the special card, in your booking, you're already confirmed. So you get a special card and only the people with that card are allowed into meeting. We don't need to do a computer check. Then, with the 2 days of the conference, the breakfast will be served at Atlantis at the reception when you arrive. Doesn't matter which hotel you stay in. The tea break morning and tea break in the afternoon is included, plus lunch at one of the most famous restaurants in the world in Atlantis, which is known as Saffron. Nothing has been spared in bringing peace into the body and the mind when you're here. If, with the way we are going, we're going by allocation. The first 850 places which get booked, stay in Atlantis Hotel. When we pass 850, we switch over to the next hotel. We will announce the hotel nearby. You can walk to it, or if we need, we put up the transportation. One of the 2 hotels on either side or one side of the hotel, again, is a 4-star, one of the top hotels in the world. Don't forget, the Palm Atlantis in Dubai carries the most famous hotels, the highest 7-star, 6-star, whatever in the world. It's one of the most expensive hotels you can stay in. We try to make the price to stay in the other hotels at 600 euro per person for 3-night stay with no breakfast. Because we give you the first 2 days breakfast with us, that we eat all together and start the day together. The first 300 people after the 850, We have reserved, I said, 900 beds. 50 stays for the Keshe Foundation core team, and the people will receive VIP in this structure. The first 300 after the 850 will not be able to be in the main, the famous ball hall of the Atlantis Hotel. They'll be moved to the auxiliary ball room, which can capacity, the capacity is 300. So it will be a television transmission or larger screen transmission, but you're just about 20 meters from the main hall. Can you stop the microphone in the background, please? If we pass 1,200 capacity, we move, if we can facilitate, to a marquee outside the building in the gardens of the most beautiful gardens in Middle East of the Atlantis Hotel. This is still getting negotiated because there are some things we have to do. In the marquee again is an open dual camera speaker, so you can speak and be heard on all three places. We can accommodate 1,800 people. This again, this is pending, so we look how it goes. If we pass 850, we go to the first 300, and then from there on we go into what we call the auxiliary banquet on the shores of the what do you call it, Persian Gulf. You have a full view, beautiful view of the most beautiful structures in Dubai. You will see the whole city of Dubai. And this is our limit. Our maximum limit is 2,000 roundabout. If we can secure the tent, we have a problem at the moment with a governmental meeting. We're trying to see if we can negotiate government to move the tent out from the to another day. But that is more or less we should be able to arrange if we can do it. This is the total capability and capacity of the structure. But don't forget, if you stay outside the Atlantis Hotel or in the other hotels to cover the 300 or 1800, you still have to pay for the 150 euro, which is 2 lunches, 75 euro for lunch and break, what they call it, the tea breaks and everything. You can eat as much as you like for lunch and whatever. So you pay 150 plus 500 for your lunch and everything included. And if you stay in the hotels outside the parameter, you pay 750 for 3 days of a stay. The meeting starts at 10 o'clock on 21st of April. The meeting finishes sometime on 22nd of April. Those of you who attend and would like to bring your systems, your developments, and you want to show and share knowledge with us, we try to accommodate you on the 22nd. Bring everything you want to show and share, you want to give and take in respect to the plasma development technology. All the guests booked into all these hotels will be national security check. It means you cannot book on somebody else's another hotel and try to come in and say whatever. So any hotels you stay under, any guest will go under full security check. We are negotiating with the security services that we get that you cannot come into the hotel and then think you can do whatever you like. Now we have a large number of people, the Keshe Foundation supporters, who live within the Emirates and they have relations and families in the Emirates who want to attend the meeting. Again, they go through on the same process. The cost to attend the meeting for the first day has been put at 250 euro. This again includes your lunch and the breakfast and everything else. If you want to attend the second day, you pay €400 for the 2 days. We have negotiated with Atlantis and other hotels. As a lot of you come from far points, we try to keep, because it's not as part of the full package, we go on the room basis, to keep the price at around about 150 or 175 per person per day, about 175, not including breakfast. So if you come and you want to stay 3 or 4 more days extra and have the facilities of the most beautiful water park in Middle East and in Asia, which is attached to the hotel, what is known as a water park of the system, which you have to pay for it or be done, is including in staying here is the bed and the facility of the hotel here in the hotel basis. We try to see if we can negotiate that you can have access to water parks if you come with your family. We now see if we can complete the negotiation with a group. So, very simple. At the moment, we are offering maximum 12, maybe 1300 seats in the main building of Atlantis Hotel. You got to understand, we expect a number of dignitaries who will not introduce themselves but will be present because they want to be. Because they want to be part of the human race, not carrying their titles. So the security will be tight. You might see most famous people who are hidden supporters of the Keshe Foundation in a meeting. They've chosen, few of them, to come in like normal as all of you, not to carry the titles as head of the state or so and so, whatever. This is how we change the process. From today, we start promoting the establishment of the universal community for one peace, one understanding of the totality, where we end with the wars and the hunger and suffering, and you come and teach. We'll try to get you as many as what we call facilities available that you can share and be able to share. We'll bring in every possible way that you can share knowledge. At this moment, we announce we will not broadcast the conference. There is no plan for broadcasting the conference. And we're trying for it not to be recorded, that we will broadcast in the future. This is important, that we might change our position, but at this moment of time, there is no plan for broadcasting present or in the future. The other point is, please be from every race you are, every nationality you are, every religion you are, present in this meeting. You will see the new way that the world representative of this planet will elect, will stand for what they stand. Do not forget, we do not elect on counts by nationality. We elect by spoken language. There'll be one English speaking, one French speaking, and no more on the council. So we made it very, very simple. If I'm not present, the process will carry on. If I'm present, the process will carry on. So we announce the city of Dubai as what we call it, the Peace City, as a spaceship city, and as a city where the Universal Council will bring a seat. The second day of the appointed council, we meet direct, personal, with each member for the guidelines of how the work and interaction with Universal Community has to be set, and with the humanity. Have you released the button yet or not? Are you still typing as 120 word per minute? Okay. Please wait, that you can do, it's all been set. You'll come to one of the most beautiful places in the world. How collectively some 170, 18 nationalities, spoken languages have come together to build the most beautiful city on this planet. Are there any questions?
Well, there's questions that aren't necessarily related to what you were just speaking of and so on. Can we put up a website name, or can we not show that yet until the website's complete and so on, ready to go?
Which website name?
Or whatever that Vince is working on there for the...
No, this is the details about the hotel I'm booking.
Okay.
We're just adding to the shop section. He has to complete it, that you can book. And it goes, as I said, the first 850 booking, we stop, and then we announce the second hotel, because we're standing by on the hotels, that we don't interfere with the working of the structure. The whole system, we are trying to bring, what do you call it, every meeting to make it a joyful time for the whole community to come together.
And where is the website that they can get that information?
You go to any of the Keshe Foundation website, keshefoundation.org. You go to the shop. We'll put it on the top of every page in the next couple of days.
Okay.
You go onto the KFSSI, or you can go on the spaceshipinstitute.org. KFSSI is teachingarm.org, or spaceshipinstitute.org, or keshefoundation.org, and hopefully our team by the 12th will bring up the what we call the active or the spoken side of the Universal Council, which is called One Planet, One Nation, One Race.org. We will not use the name of Universal Council, and we will not use the name of other things. It will be called One Planet, One Race, and One Nation in between it, because we become all one nationals and we have one planet which collectively we protect. Any other question?
Can you hear me now?
Can you talk a bit louder? We still have a problem with you in Mexico.
Hello? Can you try again? We always seem to have a communication problem.
Can you hear me?
Very barely.
We can hear you very faint. I think you got to go to your sound adjustment and increase the sound.
I went already to change the position of the microphone. So this is the right position. I don't know.
No, you have to go on your, where you see the microphone on the bottom of your Zoom. Click on it, and then you have to choose what microphone, and then go and do on your setting, increase the level of your noise. Am I right, Rick?
Right on, Mr. Keshe, yep.
Learning. Okay, any other question?
Well, okay, you have a question there? Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you state your name and where you're from?
It's Dan from Kiev, Ukraine.
Yes.
Yes, I have one thing to say and one little questions, if it is possible.
Depends on the question and what you have to say.
Okay, I'll try to explain.
You are very good in muting very quick.
Yes. When I try to use the system star formation to communicate, but I have some message, I have some notes or advice for people who used the same purpose to communicate with other beings. If you try, so if I'm not correct, please say that. But if people trying to have a communication with other people, so it seems to me that we do not have to use words. So try to not use words. Try to find the emotional balance, and when there is no thoughts, when there is a silence, and their communication with other beings is very simple, I think.
Thank you.
It's very because when I try to contact with the plasma energy, I feel many times and approaches with words. So to say, when it's when people come to church, they pray to some physicality or physical things, and it's some kind of the same. We cannot use words to communicate with beings who do not use words, as to say. So this is the things I wanted.
Let me interrupt. Or add to the knowledge. In a coming time, when we manage to complete and people start building the systems, those who were close to us, they know years ago we wanted to patent the universal language. What this means now that we don't need to patent anymore, we teach you the universal language, how to communicate. Part of this will be taught in the April conference, because the elected council has to learn and understand the line of communication. So those who become part of the council, slowly and gradually will be taught the universal language, that through that they don't become elite, but they teach the others as well as we do. So that understanding and converting it to our emotion that we understand the communication is going to be taught. We might see a lot of surprises in April, and one of it will be the biggest surprise, when the humanity unites without governments, by wanting to. One of the reasons we chose Atlantis was, in a way, it's a lost city we find, and the lost city was a city of peace. We called it Atlantis. And now, hopefully, through this conference, man finds Atlantis, which is actually the city of peace and pleasure. The environment is said to be for peace. The environment is said to be for enjoying. And the environment is said to show everything is possible, how the animals and man come together in harmony. The hotel carries one of the biggest tank fish reserve, 62,000 fish, animal of different, how they swim in the big lobby basement. And I think we as humans should learn the first the same. How so shark moves, stingrays move with human beings inside them, and amongst with other fishes the same, and they don't even touch each other. The selection teaches us a lot. We select how we want to be, otherwise you will find a lot of fishes each other. What you see in the tank, one of the first thing that bemuses you is the huge fish tanks in what you call it, in uptime. Maybe we can learn from the animals, and in that process maybe you learn how to communicate without words. We don't see the fishes shout, we don't see fishes cry, but we see them peacefully. How do they communicate? Maybe we start learning by the time we are here. Any other question?
Yes.
Would you like to show it to us? Would you like to share the screen and show it to us?
Sure. Okay.
You should be able to go on the website and link to it. Please understand, we go by numbers. We just look when we reach the 800, 850, we put a note, we are approaching so much. And if we don't approach it, we stop it, or we go back to the others. There is a link. If you're coming as outsider, you have to go through the same account as part of the, what you call 850 if you come before. You can arrive on the 20th. Your hotel is booked from the 20th till you leave on 23rd. Any days before or after, you have to make a special request through a link which will be put up, and then you have to still make the payment through the Keshe Foundation. On the side will give you an addition that you can do it, hopefully in the coming days. Then if you want to stay for a week or 2 weeks or a few days, it's a spring holidays, what they call it, Easter holidays, around that time. And how much have you put that? That should be about, what is it, 5 plus. You should put 500 euro in there, Atlantis only, please. Okay. And put all the conditions we put in. That's for the first 850. The way I wrote to you has to be the same, that there is no misunderstanding.
Okay, just so people know where to go, you go to the Keshe Foundation main website, then go to web shop, and at the web shop you'll see one of the products is the One Planet, One Nation, One Race presentations. Get tickets to the event and so on. You can click on that and you get...
Can you update that, please? The 500 is only for that. We need the rest of it to be added to it.
Right.
Which is it? Okay, where, how do we do that? Okay. So, you can zoom in. Can we look at the pictures from the top? Yes.
Just a second here. I guess you don't have the Zoom pictures in yet. They're just placeholders.
We upload the videos and everything else. You can go on the internet and look at the Atlantis Palm.
Maybe we can put some bigger pictures in so we can see a little better.
This was done to bring it in on time because we were negotiating in a lot of things to be done. Please put in there the first 850 for 500. Not including, exactly the way I wrote to you has to be, that there is no misunderstanding, yeah. And the first 850 takes the first place.
How would I change the order if I already, now there are more options. Before there was just 500 euro and I couldn't choose anything. How would it be possible to add or, yeah, to change the order?
You can.
Okay, thank you.
There was a question, someone asked whether they should do the security check before ordering.
No, we are not doing it because a lot of people come. You see, we learned from the way that the deviousness of the governments came to us. We had a presentation in Eindhoven and the American government went and bought all the tickets that nobody can come in to block. And this way we check, security check, that there are people real and what it is. So when you pay, so if you know you're going to lose it, you won't come up. If you know the security check goes if you're a criminal or you're part of the list of the Keshe Foundation, who we are keeping a track of. So you know what you've done in the background to the foundation and try to do. So those names will pop up very quickly for us. We have a list of names set up our security in the background. They know they have full list, name, addresses, and everything. And if you try to stay in a hotel, the same thing, you'll find out your place will be revoked. So the hotel holds about something like 3,500 guests, and with the numbers we've taken, the hotel is fully booked, so nobody can book into at that time, and anything comes available comes part of the Keshe Foundation. So we see what how the structure goes, but the security even for the people who come here will be security checked. Don't forget, some of the world leaders will be present, so the security is fairly tight. We try to understand one thing, we work amongst the people in the structure of the people. That means we ask the people of the power to be like the rest of us. You might sit next to some of the most famous people next to you and they'll be exactly the same. So security has to be tight. If you notice, we took the ban away from non-Belgians. There are a lot of Keshe Foundation supporters in Belgium who like to attend. We still go through the security check and you will be kept on a very close eye on. We keep a very close eye on two groups for security reasons for the others. We could stop the same, or we done the same with the, what do you call it, other nationality, but we leave it open. But we keep a very close eye because we are making a file from everybody, because you still need a visa to enter, or at the port of entry you'll be rejected. Europeans don't need don't need a visa to enter, but at the port the list will be available to the security, national securities for your entry. You'll find out you'll be sent back on the first plane, or will be kept till after the event. You'll be the guest of the, I presume, somewhere. It's beautiful if you see the picture, and the hotel is absolutely marvelous. We could not find a place better than this for such a big event. Even the managers of the hotel were always stood by it to say this is how it should be and how it is, and they moved a lot of things to be able to accommodate. Yes. Please notice 500 is for Atlantis. When we finish with Atlantis at 850, we change the option, but it's 500, you have to pay for the food. If it's not paid for the food, then your ticket will be contacted to pay for it. You have to select the food as well, that it totals, you know what it is. Then we change, after we pass the given numbers, we switch over to what you call the next 600, and then we put a picture of the hotel up, which hotel it is. All this has to be made through Keshe Foundation and not through Atlantis, because our agreement and contract is with them. And don't forget that it's a shared room. So if you come with your wife, it's two of you, two individual tickets. If you come with friends, you book together, that you stay together, then they'll be attached in that way. What was, can I see what you said at the bottom, please? You just seen something. Ah, okay, yes. You can even do what, this just that has to be correct. A visa, a stay, everything. You cannot do. You do not. You cannot attend. That's not an option. Has to be, because otherwise it creates chaos. You got to take that out. Okay, please. It cannot be there.
Could we also bring attention to the comments box at the bottom of the page? If the person who's booking has a requirement for special dietary reasons or something like that, please put it in there.
Yes, we will. The thing is, the way we have organized it is that if you go and look at the saffron section of the hotel for lunch, is a 600-seater, 700-seater restaurant, but it caters for about, I think, about 6 different nationalities food. If they keep the same structure, this is how it's set up the last time we looked at it. So you have options of Chinese, English, Europe, and what do you call it? They always ask before they serve you, apparently, that if you like to, or if you're allergic to anything. It's a normal standard in Dubai. Any restaurant you go to, that's the first thing they ask you. It's a standard procedure. By if you go to a normal restaurant or the hotel restaurant, this is a standard question asked, and you're advised what you can eat and what you cannot eat.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. Please bear in mind that you're coming here at a temperature between 25 to 30 degrees. So you're coming into the peak in the summertime European and not on the peak of the heat. And you got to realize you're on the shores of the Persian Gulf. As you see, the Atlantis is built on the palm. It's a symbol of the city in so many ways, for what it stands after the tallest city in the world. Tallest building in the world, I should say. Are there any other questions?
There's more questions, Mr. Keshe, but perhaps we're getting pretty long into the workshop here now. You want to know more? More
yes.
questions?
If you look, guest rooms, you can see it. I think we should not put that there, but go up. I just seen something Vince has put up, not just the rooms. No, I mean go down, please. The other way. The other way. If you look, no, the other way. Just the ticket and the rooms. You can see the rate of the standard rooms is 7,700 dirham divided by 4. Yes. The cheapest standard room is 6,800 for what they do, what they have. Deluxe rooms and the rest. So we're taking as whatever it is available in the hotel to be included. You can take those out, people can check themselves. Okay. It's one of the most expensive hotels in the world. So you can imagine what can be done. There is no room which doesn't face the ocean or what do you call it, Dubai city in the sea, because the city is built, or the palm is built in the middle of the Persian Gulf, what do you call it, Gulf. Anything else, or shall we call it a day?
Well, we probably worn you out pretty good by now, I expect. Is there anything else anybody would like to bring up before we go here? Shouldn't ask that, because sure enough, 2 hands go up. What do you think, Mr. Keshe? We probably should end it now? Or?
If there is anything to do with the thing, otherwise we can ask the questions on Thursday.
On Thursday, yeah, people can.
Because we're becoming one teaching into another.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're good with that for now. If there's any more questions about the arrangements for the hotel and so on, we can have that asked on Thursday as well. Great, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you indeed. We'll see you see you on Thursday. And Knowledge Seekers teaching, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the 1 year and in the afternoon for the 3rd year or 3-year course.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, all the best.
Okay, thanks everyone. That's the end of the 4th International Knowledge Seekers Workshop for the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And once again, thank you everybody for attending. And we'll end the live stream now and stop our recording.